Well, since Mormon says that it can happen, let's look more closely at this phenomenon to see if we can understand how it happens. First of all, we know that the Earth rotates at about 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, less as you move towards the poles. Now, when most people think of stopping the Earth, they think of it coming to a sudden jolting halt. But consider this. What if the Earth stopped turning in the space of 2 or 3 hours? Would we feel it then? The answer is no. A few simple calculations tell us that a 2-hour deceleration period would require, at the most, a reduction of about 8 miles per hour each minute. Gradual deceleration in such tiny increments would be virtually imperceptible to you and me. But the secondary effects would be pronounced. This world, disrupted in its rotation, would reverberate with precisely those manifestations listed by Mormon. The halting of the Earth would cause tremendous lateral shearing forces, such as those that created these. Mormon wrote that there would be earthquakes. The hills and the mountains tremble and quake. Doth the whole earth shake? The foundations rock even to the very center. Tremendous lateral forces would cause crustal shifting. We read that they, the mountains, would be broken up and become smooth, yea, even like unto a valley. Or, mountain, be thou raised up. And the same lateral motions would incite oceanic migrations. God said, waters of the great deep, be thou dried up. That is, oceans appear to dry up because they temporarily migrate out of their beds. Although Mormon did not mention it, we would expect to see atmospheric disturbances. Fierce cyclones and tornadoes would be born in an atmosphere terribly distorted by Earth's altered rotation. In reality, all these phenomena are simply manifestations of one single event. The Earth slowed or stopped rotation. So there are important details that naturally belong in the prophet's discussion of such an event. Bear that in mind as we proceed. These phenomena must accompany such an event. They are an unavoidable physical consequence of Earth's altered rotation. One other element can be added to this list by re-examining Joshua's account. In verse 10 of chapter 10, he wrote, "The Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them, so much so that they were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword." The Hebrew word translated as hailstones by the King James translators is barad, B-A-R-A-D. In Habakkuk, in the Old Testament, it was translated as hot coals and would be even more accurately rendered hot stones. Of course, in modern terms, hot stones that fall to the earth from the sky are called meteorites. However, in the days of King James, scientists and scholars believed that it was impossible for hot stones to fall from the sky. The only stones from heaven that they knew of were hailstones. So that's the term they used when translating the scriptures. But we today would call them meteorite showers. And these meteorite showers accompanied the stopped earth event according to Joshua. Now, reflect for a moment. What other ancient Old Testament event can you recall that speaks of hailstones falling out of the sky, of earthquake and shifting sea, and so on? Right, the Exodus, a mere 40 years before Joshua's long day. Could it be that something very different was going on in that epoch? Remember how, when Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go, God sent down many plagues? One of these was a plague of hailstones, or better said, hot stones, as we've seen. And here the more correct hot stones translation makes perfect sense because Moses wrote that the hail in Egypt was accompanied by fire. Imagine that. But there was far more going on than hot stones and fire raining out of the sky. Besides the items we found in Helaman and Joshua, we can add several other strange phenomena from Exodus to our list. Let's see, there was water that turned red, water turned to blood, plagues of vermin, maggots, flies, frogs, and so forth, death of the firstborn during Passover, darkness, thunder and lightning with the earthquakes, and a pillar of fire and smoke, just to name a few. Before reading Mormon, we might have thought that some of these observations by Moses were mere exaggerations or perhaps metaphorical allusions to local events. But now we must re-examine our perception of them. Were they real? Were they worldwide? What was going on? And what caused it? Well, to answer those questions, let's make another startling connection. The familiar plagues of the Exodus are found, of all places, in the book of Revelation. You probably never noticed it before, so let me point out a couple of examples. First, from Exodus. And all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood, and there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. Next, Revelation. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man. The third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. Do you see the parallel? Exodus again. And the Lord sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along the ground. Now, Revelation. And there followed hail and fire mingled with the blood, and they were cast upon the earth. Surprised? These are only two of many such parallels between the two books. Look them up for yourself. But these parallels are stunning when you stop to think about it. Isn't Revelation about the last days? And Exodus is history, right? Well, that's the connection that I wanted you to make. Both books are talking about identical types of events, one over 3,000 years ago, the other yet to come. It appears that the last days will see a rerun, if you will, of the Exodus destructions. There it is. As strange as these things sound when we speak of the past, they're stranger still when we consider them to be part of the future. But the most amazing part is yet to come.